Terraria can be beaten in under 6 minutes. Here's how. Before we begin, this is a set seed glitched run by Avocado369. This means that world generation is predetermined and all glitches are allowed. First, 4 worlds are made. 3 are in single player while the 4th is a multiplayer server. This will be important later. Upon entering World 1, they immediately drop down to an underground cabin, picking up torches, bombs, Hermes boots, recall potions, a great pressure plate, and a king statue. They then immediately leave the game and enter World 2, equipping the Hermes boots and trashing every unnecessary item. This cabin contains something very important, a bast statue, which they blow up before leaving the game once again. They then join World 3, which is the multiplayer server. To the right, they enter a cave, place a block for extra height, and place another block above them. This will be important in about 1 second. The first block was to get enough height to take fall damage, which allows them to open the dead man's chest without dying to the traps due to immunity frames. The second block is to redirect the boulder, which would have killed them after the immunity frames had worn off. It may look strange, but every action taken within the next 50 seconds has a purpose. First, we'll talk about why this glitch must be performed here. This is because this is the best layout of natural wiring, as without wires the glitch would be much more time consuming. First, 3 sandstone lamps are made. This is because they act as a sort of fuel for this glitch. Next, these 2 blocks are hammered into hoiks. Sand is then placed above a trapdoor, and the bast statue atop the sand. A block holding the trapdoor is broken and a block of sandstone is quickly placed aside the remaining sand. This process is then repeated a few blocks over. The sandstone is placed to get the bast statue back using the prong glitch. The 2 blocks hammered earlier are replaced with platforms and have pressure plates placed on top. It might look like this whole process was pointless, but before I can explain why it wasn't, we need to talk about parallel universes. This is why this world being a multiplayer server is important. You see, the server's universe and client's universe try to remain in sync, but there are some actions that can cause desyncs, which is what was being set up with the sand, trapdoors, and bast statues. These bast statues still exist for the server, which is what we need. Stepping on a pressure plate to toggle the statues off, then placing a campfire, then hitting the pressure plate 3 more times, puts the statues and campfire into an odd state. The campfire now exists between parallel universes, which has many strange properties. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First of all, why does any of this matter? We need to talk about sprite sheets. When breaking furniture in Terraria, the game uses a sprite sheet to determine what it needs to drop as an item. Normally this would simply return the furniture that is being broken, but it doesn't actually check to make sure everything matches up. The bast statues allow us to increase the frame X value of anything within those 6 tiles by 72. There is also a handy bit of code that looks like this. This means that, when going off the right side of the sprite sheet, for every frame X value increase of 72, the ID of the item returned increases by 36. You still with me? These 2 bast statues actually serve different purposes. One is to set up a glitch known as Philosopher's Stone, or Philo. The other is to set up the campfire glitch, or CGO. Philo is used to adjust the ID of the returned item by 36, while CGO is used to adjust the ID by 1. Since CGO is being performed in multiplayer in this case, it is known as MCGO. This is where the sandstone lamps come into play. These are used because they are easy to obtain and have a large frame Y value. You see, for every frame Y value increase of 54, the ID of the item returned increases by 1, and vice versa. By placing the lamp here, we can essentially burn the lamp's frame Y value in order to change the ID of the item returned. This is why they're known as fuel. By combining Philo and MCGO, we can turn a wooden door into literally any item in the game. There is much more to these glitches that I simply don't have time for in this video, so if you want more information, Ethereal's video in the description explains everything much better than I ever could. These glitches are used to perform transmutation, which is first used to obtain a picksaw, lizard altar, and lizard power cells. It is then used to obtain a Terra Prisma, Zenith, Celestial Starboard, and Soaring Insignia. Transmuting several more times provides a shell phone, a bottomless shimmer bucket, an enchanted moondial, an Akram's razor, a Rod of Harmony, a full set of solar flare armor, a drill containment unit, a celestial sigil, and leafy jungle walls. The walls are immediately crafted into jungle grass seeds, which will be useful shortly. On World 4, mud is placed with jungle grass seeds and Avocado instantly teleports to the underworld using the shell phone. They use the enchanted moondial to turn it to night, and use the wiring from a naturally generated trap to activate the king statue, teleporting the guide to the underworld. The guide is then dropped into lava, which summons the wall of flesh. Quickly defeating the wall, they return to the surface and shimmer the Akram's razor, turning it into all 3 mechanical boss summoners. After obliterating the mechs, they exit the game and rejoin World 4, this time hosting it as a multiplayer world. I'm not sure exactly how this part works, but this is done to perform some RNG manipulation shenanigans that force the Plantera bulb to spawn on these 2 jungle grass blocks. Defeating Plantera allows Golem to spawn, which is what the altar and power cells that were transmuted earlier are for. Once Golem has been killed, the Celestial Sigil can be used to summon Moonlord. Moonlord is defeated and Terraria has been beaten in just 5 minutes and 21 seconds. The link to the original run will be in both the description and pinned comment. Until next time, I hope you all have an amazing day.